hunting and got a deer. You just harvest your entire gardening and you have quite a bit of food. Well, you picked all those apples and now you have an abundance of apples. You get a whole lot of eggs from your chickens or quails and you don't know what to do with them. Today we're going to be talking about food preservation without electricity. Yes, everything that I'm going to mention today will be done without electricity. And of course, I'm not going to be able to cover everything. It is literally impossible for me to tell you everything that you can do to preserve food, but at least I want to provide you with some ideas. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is the number one food preservation method for almost everybody will be canning. Canning, you have two ways of canning. You have pressure canning and you have water bath canning. Now, water bath canning is for high acidic food, fruits, jams, and pressure canning is for low acidic food like meat and vegetables. Now, in my house, we do quite a bit of canning. In fact, we pressure can our meat, we pressure can our fish, we do pressure can our, I know, and this is a lot of people going to say, no, don't do that, Billy. But we do pressure can our potatoes. Not all the time, but at the very end of the season, whatever we have left, we do pressure can them. We do not water bath our potatoes. We do pressure canning though. What else? Oh, yeah, absolutely. We also make a lot of jam. Yeah, we do have an extremely amount of strawberries that we harvest, and we just didn't know what to do with it. I mean, it was just so much, and we are not big strawberry eaters per se. So what do? Well, Mrs. D goes ahead and water can whatever we don't eat. In fact, whatever she does is just jams and jellies and whatnot, but that way we eat everything. Now, we have here in Alaska the privilege and the ability to go and get a lot of blueberries from the wild blueberries. They're not big. They're not like yay big like you get in the stores. They're little, but they are abundant. So we do get a lot of blueberries, and we also make jams with it. Let me put it like this: a biscuit with a lot of jam, in my opinion, is something delicious. That's just me. We do not dehydrate the strawberries or the blueberries, but that is something that you can also do. In fact, let's talk about dehydration. As simple as putting it outside when there is a lot of sun and having a solar dehydrator. Remember, I'm telling you all, no electricity whatsoever. Now, I mentioned previously the whole canning. Canning can be done with propane, so no electricity required there. Now, solar dehydrators are not really that hard to make. In fact, anybody can do it, and that will remove all the moisture from the fruits, and you can do it with meats too. In fact, I dehydrate a significant amount of meat because that's usually what I take when I go hunting. And I like keeping them in mason jars. And I will talk about the reason why I'm mentioning today mason jars instead of Mylar bags. But that will come later on. But yeah, solar dehydrators are not that hard to make, easy to do, and the sun takes care of everything. So that is a way for you to do it. Now, I mentioned to you a mason jar. You need to put those dehydrated foods somewhere. I'm not going to say go get Mylar bags and whatnot. I think the easiest way for you to store your dehydrated food, honestly, is in mason jars. You can reuse them over and over and over. All you have to do is get that attachment that goes on top and it sucks the air out. And they do have manual pumps. So once you suck the air out, or better yet, add an extra step. Throw an oxygen absorber in there. And that will help the life of that content inside the mason jar. Put the attachment in it, suck all the air out, and bam, now you're golden. That is, to store away your dehydrated food. Fermentation is another way to preserve food. Now, I mentioned early on in the video, hey, how about if you have a whole bunch of eggs that you don't know what to do with them? Whether it's chicken eggs, quail eggs, and whatnot. There is such a thing as pickle eggs. And they are delicious. So that is a way for you to preserve your eggs. I know a lot of people have other ways to preserve their eggs, like put it in lime and whatnot. My preferred method will be, well, pickle eggs. and that's just because I like them. Root cellars. Root cellars are a great way to store away your excess food. Now, in a root cellar, and I heard this one time, somebody asked me, should I put my meat in the root cellar? Do not. Do not. In fact, meat, the way that I will preserve meat, if it was you, it will be canned, it will be dehydrated, and there will be salt and smoke. That's the way that I will preserve a meat, because I'm not using electricity. If I were to use electricity, that would be something else. But since I'm not using electricity, I'm giving you those ones. Now, root cellars are perfect for vegetables, fruits, and whatnot. They just extend the life of those vegetables and fruits and whatnot. Now, I mentioned already salt curing and smoking. Yeah, for meat preservation, that is a great way to do it. If you smoke the meat and the fish as well, it changes the flavor a little bit. In my opinion, it changes the flavor for the best. Sometimes you get bored of eating the same meat over and over and over. Sometimes you get bored of eating the same fish over and over and over, and having something different like smoked salmon, along with some canned salmon and whatnot. It changes the flavor, and it makes something that it feels mundane. It refreshes your day. Let's just put it that way. Now, vacuum sealing and oxygen absorbers. I said before, I'm not going to be recommending anybody to get Mylar bags or anything like that. Stick with mason jars. Mason jars, you can use it over and over and over. You cannot, or you should not be using the lids when you pressure can. But I have reused over and over and over the lids when I vacuum seal. So that's just me. You got to do your own research, but that's just the way that I do things. It doesn't matter whether I vacuum seal, potato chips or jerky. It's just the same. I always add an extra oxygen absorber, and like I mentioned before, they do have manual pumps that you can suck all the air out, so you do not need electricity. So I just want to give you a couple of things that if the grip goes down, you don't have to throw away that food just because you think it's going to spoil. There are ways to preserve the food, and quite frankly, they are not really that difficult. In fact, I found those food preservations quite rewarding. With that being said, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like always, rock on, prep on, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.